Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us in the garden today. It may be winter, but it's a sunny day, so we're going to utilize this time, get out to the garden, get some tasks done, get ahead of the game for this upcoming spring. Come join us. This is the pineapple guava, or the feijoa tree that's growing in the chicken run. I have it growing in here for a good reason, and that is because it's an evergreen. How is it?
This is good. Really sweet.
But you can see the fruits in here are a lot smaller. This tree is a little younger than the other one that I have. But the reason I put this in the chicken run is because it is evergreen, and I'm hoping that eventually the limbs become strong enough that the chickens can roost up in this tree. It would be more like a bush. And besides that, whatever it drops, I'm hoping the chickens will eat. That was the idea, although when I'm looking around at the fruits right now, I don't see any peck marks in the fruit. Wait, did you do that?
The bird.
Oh, okay, so yeah. They are eating some of them.
Can you tell?
That's the bird too, or you? That's the wife bird. So yeah, hopefully it works out the way that we were hoping, and we get some nice shelter for the birds with this tree, maybe a place for them to roost, and a food source. So always thinking about ways that we can get the most out of different plants when we place them in the garden. And so this here is the secret sauce of the day, and what we have is some fava beans, also known as broad beans, that have been soaking in this inoculant solution for a little over an hour, and I'm going to start plugging this into the garden. Now this inoculant, what it does is it helps the plant's roots to form nitrogen nodules. So wherever we put this into the garden, not only are we going to get an edible plant with edible leaves, flowers, and pods, and beans that are delicious, but it's also going to feed the soil. Now, to get the most out of the fava bean in the way of nitrogen fixation, what you want to actually do is cut back the plant once it begins to flower and leave the root mass in the soil. That way, those nitrogen root nodules are going to drop off and feed the soil, all the surrounding plants. So I'm plugging in these fava beans right here on this Hugelculture mound. I probably will be adding some wood chip mulch to the top of this in a little while. But for now, I'm going to get these plants plugged in. This is a crop that I like to plug in the fall, but you can also plug it in the winter if you live in a more temperate climate zone. So if you live in an area that drops below 15 degrees Fahrenheit, then you're going to want to wait till spring to sow these plants. And they do prefer a cooler climate for growing, but it takes about 80 days, so 3.5 months, 4 months before you're going to get a mature crop. If you're not yet growing the fava bean, you need to start. These particular seeds are extremely rare. This is the Cuskin Super Yellow variety. As far as I know, there's nowhere you can purchase these anymore. They came from Peru, and I picked up a pack of 5 of these seeds originally, propagated the plant. Now I've got hundreds, actually probably thousands of these seeds. I've got volunteer plants popping up all over the place. I've got a couple different varieties, but it's obvious when you harvest a seed what variety it is. This mound is so soft here that I don't even really need the hori-hori. I can just plug it in. I'm not too worried about spacing or anything like that. Just getting the crop in. The soil's nice and moist right now, and we don't have any rains coming in for probably about a week. But overall, the climate's pretty mild. We've had a mild winter this year. I love planting larger seeds. They're just easy. They produce nice big sprouts. They're not so sensitive to weather change or wildlife or chickens. They can handle quite a bit. So if you don't cut the plant back once it begins to flower, then the plant actually utilizes the nitrogen on the nodules that it created. And so that would be the reason why you would want to cut it back if you were going to use this as more of a cover crop to get that nitrogen fixation in the soil. So you can even pick up fava beans at your local health food store. A lot of the bulk bins, you can get fava beans that will grow. You can always test that theory out first and take a couple of them, put them in some wet paper towels, and check back in a couple days, see if they begin to sprout. And if so, you know you've got a plant that'll grow, and you can get them really cheap that way. These Hugelculture mounds are so soft and sponge-like. Over the years, I have just become really impressed with this whole technique of gardening. Sometimes I swear they wave back, they tilt their wing at me. Pretty close. I used to get mad when they fly overhead because I'm trying to make a video and it's really loud. But I'd rather keep myself in a positive state of mind, so instead I like to wave. Thumbs up for the camera girl. Alice is behind the camera today, helping me to film. Makes my life a little easier. Good job, sweetie.
You're welcome, honey.
So let's show them some fava beans that volunteered and have sprouted up in the garden over here. So here's a pretty tall growing fava bean plant. Now, like I said, all the leaves of this plant are edible. The growing tips, you can pop off the tip and eat that as well. So it's not just the pods, but the greens, the flowers. And this is a volunteer. Here's another volunteer. There's another one back over there. If you look over here, there's a whole bunch of them sprouting up. A pod must have fallen over here, broke open. There's 6 little plants coming up, so really cool. Right here at the base of the goji berry plants. Again, because this is a pathway, this is more of a living mulch situation than a food crop area where I'd be growing these. So we'll plug in a few more, add some nitrogen around the base of these goji berry plants. It's also a very attractive plant, by the way. The flowers are very unique. Here's some more nitrogen, a little bit of chicken dew. Cover that in as well. Could use the hori hori over here. Oh, thank you. Got the Violette de Bordeaux fig tree over here. Give this a little bit of love, company. I just want to say thank you, everybody, for watching these videos, hitting that like button, and shooting us a comment. All those interactions really help the channel to grow. We really appreciate it. I'm sorry if I'm not able to get back to everyone's comment. I do my best. But just know that we see them all, for the most part. But they're very much appreciated. So keep them coming. You know, it could be something as simple as nice video, or I like that technique. Just a couple words. Really helps us out. So there you go. In about 5 minutes, just established several different patches of fava bean. Got some nitrogen fixation that's going to occur here in the garden. Got a little bit of chop and drop to do. Other than that, just a simple video today, something to remind you guys to try to get at least one thing done in your garden every day if you can. It adds up, it helps a lot. By the time spring comes around, you're ahead of the game. That's the way to roll in gardening.
Bye bye.